Happy Tuesday, Trend Tuesday. Good to see all of you. And we are excited to be talking about networking, right? So exciting. However, I am here at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego, and I got to tell you, big accomplishment for little introverted me that since I got here, I have met 11 people at this social media marketing world. I attended 2 years ago in 2020, right before everything closed for COVID. And I was a little distracted by all the things going on at that time. But I got to tell you, I met zero new people when I was here in 2020. And this year, I've already met 11 new people. And this is what is changing in networking and the awesome combo that's happening between online and in person networking. And so I want to share with you all how I'm seeing this shift, see if there's things that you are seeing, and how we might share this with our clients, because I think they're going to have benefits from this change, just like I am. And then we'll talk about some of the things that have changed a little bit, but were always true, and how you can be more effective in your networking and help clients do the same. So hello from San Diego, nice little hotel room background today. I'm glad to see you, and feel free to drop a hello in the chat, whether you're watching us live or in the replay. So when we are networking, a lot of times it is awkward, especially if we're going to some place where we don't know very many people, or if we're going to a larger event. And so some of these technologies that really aren't new, but nobody was using them the way that they're using them now post-COVID. So one of the things that I went to plenty of events before COVID, and there was always an app, right? There was an app for the event, but no one was really using that app very well. And what I'm seeing here at Social Media Marketing World, and of course they're social media marketers, so we got to take that a little bit into account here, but is people are using the Facebook group in a very different and effective way. So people like me, fellow little introverted people, would probably not go up to someone at a general session and start talking to them. Therefore, most of the time we end up either eating alone or maybe participating in one of the bigger, everybody sign up on this to go to things. But then it's easy to just drop out because you're on this huge list and nobody really knows that you signed up, and you can just drop out because you're tired at the end of the day. But what's going on with the Facebook group is that there's a constant connection that's happening there that people are more used to now and people are more open to. And so, like someone posted yesterday and said they were going to dinner. I was just so close to going back to the hotel and having dinner by myself and working, right? And instead, I went to dinner with them because it was easy, it was there, it was immediate. Once I started commenting, the conversation continued. So I encourage you and your clients that if you're going to some events now, if you're ready to start going in person, to be more open with the idea of joining a Facebook group for the event or joining the app for the event, because things have changed. And even if you had done those things in the past and not found them to be as helpful, it's different now. People are using them, they're more comfortable using them, and they're just more knowledgeable in using them. So there's actual real conversations happening there. There's real connections happening there. Like I said, I've already met 11 new people. So the first day that I was coming in, same thing. I was just going to go have lunch by myself, and someone wrote that they were going to watch the Iowa Purdue game, basketball game, at a local restaurant, and was anyone else into basketball? Well, there we go. Now we've got that connection point. We're going to be sitting watching basketball. It's just going to make it less awkward. So I went to the restaurant, met this nice woman from Boston, New York, and we had lunch. We watched the game, and it was easy because we already had that connection. And those are the things that oftentimes trip us up when we're networking. What do I talk about? What am I going to do? How will I connect with these people? So hi, Jude. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. And would love to hear if you're seeing any of these things, or if you've got clients that are starting to go to in-person events again. It is coming back some of our colleagues are talking about going to some in-person events. And of course, we're excited for our own upcoming in-person event with our symposium coming up. So I'll drop that link up here. And we've got an awesome group of speakers and the leaders in the industry coming together to talk about the career services. And this is one of the things I'm excited for our events, is that we just started using this Mighty Networks app, where some of you have joined to get the announcements for our events. And that will be a place where we can have these same conversations. We'll make a group, a conference, and you can connect with each other there. Especially, as I've said, you can connect ahead of time. You can connect during to find some of those people to relate to. It's such an easy thing. And I love how this has evolved to people are just more accepting of it and understanding how to use it. So that's one of the new things that's happening in networking. One of the other things that I see happening is people are using the digital tools more, but they don't really know how to use them. And particularly, one of the things I see in our industry is that we focus a lot on putting out content or having your profile be perfected, but we don't talk a lot about how to actually use the tools to build relationships. And networking isn't about putting out content. Relationship building isn't about putting out content. Digital branding, there is that element to putting out content. However, even that's not how it works. If you started putting out content on Instagram every day, you might build a following, but what will really build your following is to go and engage on and comment on other people's content. Relationship building, right? Conversations. That's where these things happen. And I've been prey to it myself, where we get so much on and probably talk too much about your profile, which is just a landing page. And anybody knows who's ever been in any kind of marketing that you could have the best landing page ever, and you can pour a lot of money into SEO. And sometimes that will work. Depends on if you're the type of business that a lot of people search for, or if you are in a category where you can boost your SEO enough to get found. But it's not really marketing. It's just a website. The idea of really getting your word out is that you go and more proactively connect with people, that you more proactively get your message out there, and maybe more importantly, engage with and talk to other people. And so it's just one of those light bulb moments, but also a good parallel to think about. We tone down our messaging a little bit on the profile being perfect. Yes, that's important. Keyword optimization is important, but that's like focusing on building a website with someone and then never talking to them about all the other types of marketing to drive people to that website. We have to go beyond that and tell them how to use LinkedIn to engage, how to use LinkedIn to build relationships through messaging, through commenting, whatever works for them. And we've got a whole range of options for them, but it still comes down to that one-on-one connection. And it's using a digital tool, a virtual tool, to achieve that, just like we would in person. And so I've gotten some feedback from some of our graduates from the certified digital branding class, and just kind of had this own revelation myself. And we've completely changed the outline for our course, that it will start more with, yes, you need to have your profile set up, but then how do you use these tools to build relationships, to build strategic relationships, because you can't build relationships with everyone. That's overwhelming. So we've got to think about the strategy behind it, but we've got to be more focused on building those relationships versus just putting out content. Great part about that is that it's somewhat more comfortable for some people, to do that instead of the content, and that they build on each other, they support each other. So it really builds a more interesting and more attainable strategy when you put the two together. So I'm excited about that. This class starts on March 31st. But if you're working with people, I just encourage you to, yes, you want to get their profile ready. Take it to that next step. How do they use this tool to engage with their audience, to engage with their industry, to engage with their community? Because if they aren't doing that, they're really just sitting around hoping and praying that their website, right, their LinkedIn profile is going to get found. And it's a passive way. It's not the way that we teach best practice in job search. So it's time that we move past that and move into the next step of, now that your profile's ready, what do you do with this tool? The third thing that I'm seeing changing with networking, and Sarah Johnston shared this in one of her posts from Ann Hadley's newsletter, and Ann Hadley, I'll post the link to her newsletter in here somewhere. She's awesome. She does a newsletter on content marketing. But she was talking about hyper personalization. We've been talking about this for a while. It's been in the recruiting space for a while. This whole idea that people want to be talked at. They don't want to be talked at. They want to be talked to as a partner. They want to be engaged in your content. They want you to be talking directly to them. This is the reason we hate slimy messages on LinkedIn, because you know that wasn't written for you. You know it was written for an automated message. And even though it kind of sounds personalized, we know it's not. I think that's even worse. The fake personalization is probably worse than not personalizing. But this personalization piece comes into one of the themes for this year in social media, which really is the power of messaging. And how do you use messaging to connect with people? We started teaching our social media for job search class last fall, and now we're going to fold it into our digital branding class, and then we'll offer that social media for job search class again. But it's, how do you help your clients use messaging, which, depending on the platform, may be more immediate, get better response rate. LinkedIn can kind of backfire on you in that way if you're trying to message someone on LinkedIn who isn't active on LinkedIn on a regular basis. But a lot of the other messaging platforms are a great way to stay in touch with people above and beyond email. And of course, even using email, that personalization and being able to connect with people via email is so important. And I don't have the link for it right now, but we're also doing an email sequence session tomorrow. And this is what we're going to talk about. How do you personalize those emails? How do you template it a little bit so that it's easier? And even how do you automate some of it, because you can automate pieces and then customize others. But these are things that networking, it's always been important to do that follow-up. It's always been important to talk direct person and connect with them. So now we have these tools that can help you do it. And we need to be careful in how we're using them, because we can make it worse instead of just not doing it at all. Making it worse or doing it automated, may or may not be worse than doing it. It all depends on how bad that automated email is. And we all know what those look like. I think you can do automated emails that don't feel slimy or fake personalized, and you can make those connections, but we have to find that way to follow up. And with the 11 new people that I've met here at Social Media Marketing World, I've been thinking about this, making that list and doing that follow-up, just like we would if we're going to connect with people in any way, especially those of us that need more of a structure to get these things done, creating a list, doing the follow-up, making the notes, so that we are doing the work that goes behind the work. So if we put in the initial work of making some of those connections, but then we don't do the follow-up, really that initial work is wasted because we didn't do the additional work of the follow-up. So those were my 3 keys today for how networking is shifting. One is, if you are doing some in-person events or even virtual events, make sure you're using the groups and apps and everything that the event people are providing. They are more interesting, engaging, and active than they were pre-COVID. The second thing is that we've got to move beyond just a profile. We've got to move beyond thinking that we can help someone set up, LinkedIn or whatever it is, and then they're gonna, if you build it, they will come. That doesn't work. We've got to build it, and then we've got to teach them how to use it. use these systems so that they can connect and engage with others. And then the third thing is that follow-up. And this hasn't changed, but it's always been there, and it's always been difficult. I remember a Sandler sales coach telling me, he was helping me create my follow-up strategy after attending a conference, because he said 90% of the vendors at a conference won't follow up with the people that stop by that table. Isn't that amazing? They've paid $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 to have a booth at this event, and then they don't follow up, even though they paid all of that money to get there. So we want to make sure that we're not doing that our clients aren't doing that. Do that follow-up when you put in the effort to network, and if you want it to result in anything. Otherwise, especially for us introverts, it's a lot of wasted effort for probably very little payback if we're not doing that follow-up. We just aren't you can't have a relationship with someone that you met once at an event if we don't keep that conversation going. So I love that all of you came today. Thank you for keeping the conversation going with me. And I hope to see you next week. And again, I'd love to see you in person. We're kind of getting to the last calls. It will be the last time we talk about our symposium, because the symposium hotel room block is going to shut off on the 22nd. You'll still be able to register, but the price is going to go up. So if you're planning on joining us, if you have questions about the event, please let me know. I'd be happy to go and do a little live Q&A, as well as set up a time to chat one-on-one if you've got questions about that. I'll see you all next week. Thank you.